Hello out there to all of you in social media world. This is Brother Dana coming to you from Chicago. Again, I want to say hi to my supporters and my followers and my friends and my families, and yes, even to my doubters. That's okay. Some of you, I have no problem with you doubting where my real motive or passion is coming from. I know the issues between us in truly trusting each other. So I don't have a problem with those of you that absolutely doubt my motives. You need to protect yourself. And so I pray and hope that the Spirit of the Most High will reveal to you that in the depth of my own ability to be sincere in what I do will be known or felt by you. So anyway, I just want to say hello to all of you. I also want to say thank you to all of you that reached out to me regarding what I spoke about the Mexicans and Native American Indians being a part of the 12 tribes. Yes, I'm absolutely familiar with that chart. I did read it. At one point, I thought it was true, and then some of my Hebrew mentors reached out to me and said no, it wasn't true. But then what they did speak to me, though, is that there has been artifacts and things found here in the United States that in Cleveland, Ohio, or in Ohio for sure was one, that when they finally decoded it, it ended up being a part of the Ten Commandments written in Hebrew. So I am thinking I'm correct in believing that some of the individuals that were here prior to Europeans getting here were one of the 12 tribes or of those 12 tribes. So if not, again, please reach out to me and I will seal the deal on this and go back to what I definitely do know without a shadow of a doubt, that if you listening to this have an ancestor that was brought over during the Atlantic trade, slave trade, that you are definitely one of the Most High's chosen individuals. And that I know as a fact, because I know that one night the Most High, or at that time I called him God, woke me up to answer the question that I've had in my heart for 15 years about why does it seem like white Americans, or white individuals, period, dislike minorities but can't stand the sight of my black brothers and sisters. And he finally said, my son, that's because they are the chosen people of myself. They are my true Hebrew Israelites. And then he directed me to go to Deuteronomy chapter 28. So if anybody on my Gentile family wants to say I've been brainwashed, well, you can't say that. Now you can say I'm crazy if you like, because I heard a voice, not an audible, but I know what I heard. You can go ahead and call me crazy, but brainwashed, not at all. Anyway, I wanted to come to you to share with you that I do believe President Trump, when he stated, and I saw this on CNN, that if he was going to be impeached, Donald Trump said everybody would be very poor, and questioned how he could be impeached when he's made strides improving economy conditions in an interview aired on Thursday. He said, if I ever get impeached, I think the market would crash. I think everybody would be very poor. And I have to say I agree with him. I absolutely agree with him. Because in order for the transitioning to happen, there has to be some type of a major crash. So what I'm saying that I believe when Trump says this is defining who his everybody is. And who are his everybody? Everybody that follows him and everybody that refuses to acknowledge the truth that our black brothers and sisters in this country are the true chosen Hebrew Israelites, the chosen people of the Most High. So the everybody that refuses to acknowledge this truth will be the everybody that will find themselves very poor, because the transition of the 400 years is coming to an end, and now the favor in Romans that was placed over the Gentiles to make the chosen people, the Most High Hebrew Israelites, jealous, that is transitioning now is coming to an end. So the favor is going to go back onto the chosen people of the Most High. And those who refuse to let the children of the Most High go can look at the way their life may be, or their country, or their nation, based off of Egypt, when they refuse to allow the chosen people go. So I looked that up. And, there was 10 plagues. And there was the water turned into blood, the frogs that came in and invaded. You got the biting insects and the wild animals, the livestock disease and the boils, the fiery hail, locusts, darkness, and then the death of the firstborn. Well, how the Most High is going to implement this in this modern day world that we're living in, I do not know. But I do know that these plagues have really been placed also on a modern day Egypt, if you want to say, and that is our black inner city communities. So white America or white Gentiles, those who refuse to acknowledge the truth about who our black brothers and sisters really are, you can see how your living conditions will probably become when you look at what we have done to our black brothers and sisters. We have turned their water wrong. We have contaminated their water. We haven't sent frogs, but we have done vaccines and different things purposefully on them, giving our black brothers and sisters illnesses and disease and testings on them, thinking that we're doing them a favor. When you look at biting insects and wild animals, I mean, we've allowed anything and everything to come in and to destroy disease and boils. That the work that they have done, we've stolen. We may not have killed their livestock like those that died to the Egyptians in that time, but yet we're killing the very produce and the very harvest of the work of our black brothers and sisters. And we've been doing that over the years where they barely get to eat the scraps. Darkness. Come and live in an inner city and you will know what darkness is really about. The darkness of oppression and hopeless and despair. It is so strong that even my pastor from Africa, when he came to Chicago, to the inner city, within literally 5 minutes, he said, "Oh, Pastor Dina, get me out of here." And when I asked Pastor Chris, what did he mean? Because, again, not all Africa is like this, but I've been there several times. But the portion where my pastor, mentor friend, who's Nigerian, purposefully built his home was amongst those that were living out of cardboard boxes. And yet, so I made this visual comparison, and I said, but Pastor, those in Africa are living in cardboard boxes where there's no running water, there's no TV, there's no cell phones, there's no bathrooms, there's nothing. And then our poor here right now are still, at least most of them, are living in some type of an apartment with cell phones and with electricity and running water. So why do you say what you say? And he said, Pastor Dina, that's because my people back in Africa still have hope. And my brothers and sisters in this country, their hope has been taken from them. So without hope, there will always be a ceiling. That's darkness. That's darkness. And that is what white America in every social economic status has done through white privilege and white supremacy. And that is why when I see my inner city black brothers and stuff doing the things that they're doing, how can I label them as these horrible thugs or perpetrators or monsters that need to be destroyed? I know what it's like to live in a place where, yeah, there is some hopelessness. Yes, my people get depressed, if something happens, but we don't live underneath a dark black cloud of oppression and enslavement. And until you have lived on both sides, I'm not even black, but yet living here, I feel that. And there are days when I wonder, why is it that I'm not motivated to do anything? It's because I know that the spirit realm in this inner city communities is just hopeless. But now that we understand where that hopelessness and where it all comes from, we also understand that those tables are turning. So a modern day Egypt, as a reminder or as a foreshadow, you could say, of what Trump is saying when everybody will become very poor, is looking at what white America has done to our inner city black communities. And so think of Egypt as well. So the last plague was all the firstborn were killed. It said then that Pharaoh and all his army, which I'm sure Pharaoh took almost anybody and everybody that he could, as they went after your ancestors, they were drowned and died in the Red Sea. So now you go back to Egypt and pretty much all of your older men, your workers, your husbands, your uncles, those that oversaw the family and kept the unit together are now gone. And you have mostly women and young children and women and maybe young females. You have taken away the cornerstone of a family, which are the men. White America has done that for generations since we brought you here in getting rid of the men from the unit of the family. First of all, it was slavery, literally slavery, where we stripped you and ripped you apart from your family. And then it became the welfare program, and now it becomes the penal system. So if Trump wants to understand what this very poor will be like, look at the inner city. But see, this is the problem with my white Gentiles that fear you. They think that the destruction is going to come from you, because when you get out of your slave position, you're going to do unto us what we have done unto you. But little do they know, if that was your purpose, I would have been lynched years ago, 24 years ago, 24 and a half years ago, before I made my move into the inner city. But if anybody supported me more than anyone in my life, it hasn't been my white family outside of my mother and some of my immediate brother. It's been my black brothers and sisters. That when they saw my face down and out, or they saw me struggling with something, they were the ones that came running to my rescue to build me up, not to tear me down. So I do believe Trump is correct. If he's impeached, when he's impeached, whatever happens, however the Most High chooses to make that happen, those in his followers will be very poor. So the everybody that he's talking about is what we have to look at. Because prior to the election, the pastor that kicked me out of his church, a Kojic church, because I was preaching that Yeshua was black, prior to all that happening, said there's no way that Trump will ever be voted in. And I told him, yes, there will be, because I said, again, I know the hearts of my people. And I know that the Most High spoke to me at that point and said that behind that closed booth is where every single person would cast their lot into what they support. Are they going to support fear and hate towards people? Or are they going to embrace that we need to move to repent, acknowledge, repent, and then repay? And that repay, some of my Gentile believers may acknowledge, and then they may repent, but the big thing will be, are they willing to repay? And I'm going to be doing several videos coming up. I'm reading a book that I got when I went to Moody Bible Institute regarding our stance as Americans and Christian Americans, evangelicals, when it comes to the Jewish people. Well, now that I know that the Jews that I was taught to honor as the chosen people of the Most High are not, I'd like to see that if all of those, and I think mostly every Moody student had to go through different theology classes at Moody to teach our stance on Israel and the Jewish people, if we will still hold those values when it comes to supporting, defending, and releasing. And one of those little chapters I read, it said that, it was a shame that Hitler gloated in burning alive children. And I'm thinking, but yet white America gloats in shooting down young black Americans. So I'm looking forward to going through this book and bringing some of these principles that I have been taught in the evangelical church. And our stance should be, and again, they made it very clear, even Pastor Hagee made it very clear, that when you defend and you honor Israel, then the blessings of the Most High, or of God, will be upon you. And that was part of the reason that these evangelicals did not like President Obama, because they felt like President Obama did not support Israel and the white Jews well enough. So we'll see if they will stand on those same principles. But as you've already seen, white America, most of my white evangelicals, white America will not stand on anything that holds them accountable when it comes to keeping power and control over the people that we hate and the people that we fear, who are ultimately and actually the chosen people of the Most High. So thank you for tuning in. Again, this is my website, One Love, www.onelovesociety.love, onelovesociety.love. I'm going there, fill out a contact form. That is a sure way that you will get a response from you, or from me to you. I thank you for tuning in. I also, for those of you, I know one of my followers said she can no longer follow me because I put up a PayPal, and I was okay with that. I'm okay with that because Like she said, we all have bills, and I absolutely agree with her. We all do have bills. And I work a full-time job to pay my bills. But I asked her, and she never responded. I said, would you just please consider this? I don't know on your end, but out of my own pocket, at a school, I ran a mentoring program, and I spent to buy them pizza, food, and all their t-shirts and everything, $3,000. My webpage and what I do cost me sometimes almost $55 a month. And so my question isn't to become rich so I can buy a new car. That if those of you are out there would donate, that money goes in to help recoup the personal money that I use to do what I talk about, and that is living a life to empower the people that are called by the Most High. One last thing is, many of you have contacted me when I've asked for information that I can bring forth, because we started up a Facebook page, a young lady that the Most High spoke to her, opened her eyes. She's a white Gentile. Now she's grafted in. She's like 19 years old, so there's such an awesome testimony to the Most High. She contacted me. She said, how can I help? And so she is running forth with it, but we're doing it together, a Facebook page called Gentiles Grafted In, because I want to build up get ready for some of my Gentile families to be awoken to this truth. A place to come to learn how to now walk in the truth that we're learning because of different things that culture and Christianity has taught us that isn't quite correct. So I'm going to start up a page on there, and what I want to do is I'm going to set it up as different levels. So we'll have level 100, level 200, level 300, and level 400. And so a brother has volunteered already to help me with that. And so when people that want to know about the truth, whether they're a new Hebrew that's waking up, or whether it's a Gentile waking up, I want them to be able to go where they can click on level 100 and get the basic foundations of the truth, about the lie of Ham being cursed, causing you to be cursed all your lives. About Yeshua, not white. Some of those basic principles that need to be understood first before they flip into another level of depth. One of my problems that I'm running into is I'm running into so many educated Hebrews that are reaching out to me and telling me, oh, watch this video. But because some of those videos are so advanced to where I'm at, it does start to mess me up. And sometimes I get overwhelmed and I just wish I could start at level 100, which I am doing that. But I don't want others to have to kind of suffer through this. When there's those of you out there who are so educated that you can send these different information and let me know, where do you think this would fall, so I can plant it into this page, so that when I have questions, I can direct them to this page, and then they can kind of determine where are they in the knowledge and the wisdom that they have received regarding who you are as the chosen people of the Most High, how you got here, all of those basic principles, and then even into some theology issues of, must we follow the law? Do we have to hold the Sabbath? Can I eat pork? Just as the way that I desire to live my life, I would rather fault on, yes, we need to hold them, than not to. So in my life, I have chosen to get rid of pork and to turn, Saturday, the true Sabbath, into my Sabbath. And spend some time with the Most High. So thank you for tuning in. And again, if you have any information, contacts, feedback, please do so. I thank you for helping me to make sure that I stay on the truth, because there is a lot out there. And again, that is kind of why I want to put this page and stuff together. So until we talk again, shalom.